Everyone knows Chuck Norris as the man who could break bricks, beat villains, and somehow turn a roundhouse kick into a permanent place in pop culture. But that is not the real financial story. The real story is quieter and far more useful. This is not the story of a celebrity. This is the story of a financial decision. Because Chuck Norris did not build lasting wealth by looking rich. He built it by turning a reputation into assets and then protecting those assets when the checks stopped matching the contract. Before the money story makes sense, you need just a little context. Chuck Norris was not born into Hollywood, and he did not arrive as some polished entertainment product. He found martial arts while serving in the Air Force in Korea, came home, opened his own studio, then expanded that into a chain that eventually grew to more than 30 schools. Only later, after actor Steve McQueen pushed him toward film, did he move into movies and then television. In other words, Norris was earning before he was famous and building before he was branded. That matters because his first real money engine was not acting, it was instruction. He turned expertise into income the old-fashioned way, by teaching, opening schools, and creating a system people could pay to learn. Public accounts describe him as a celebrity martial arts instructor long before his biggest acting years, with students that included well-known names and a studio business that had real scale. That tells you something important right away. Chuck Norris was not just selling screen time, he was selling skill, trust, and a repeatable service. Then Hollywood multiplied the machine. His early film work, especially after his breakout alongside Bruce Lee, moved him from local business owner to global action brand. Over time, he built a long run in action films, and then came the giant accelerator, Walker, Texas Ranger. The show ran from 1993 to 2001, and it did more than pay him a television salary. It expanded his audience, turned him into a household name across generations, and, more importantly, gave him a piece of something that could keep earning after filming ended. And this is where the financial story becomes interesting. Most people look at a star like Chuck Norris and assume the wealth came from episodes, movie checks, and commercials. But public reports suggest the smartest part of the entire structure was ownership and profit participation. Norris's company, Top Kick Productions, later claimed his Walker contract entitled him to 23% of profits from any and all exploitation of the show. That is the kind of clause that can matter more than one more season of salary, because a hit show can keep paying through syndication, licensing, home entertainment, and streaming long after the camera stops rolling. That decision, taking a stake in the asset instead of relying only on active income, may have been the most important financial move of his career. And the drama is that this smart move only mattered because he was willing to defend it. In 2018, Norris sued CBS over Walker profits, alleging he was owed more than $30 million and that the show had been distributed in ways that reduced what his company should have received. The case was settled in 2023 for an undisclosed amount. We do not know the settlement figure, but the pattern is the lesson. He treated intellectual property like an asset worth enforcing, not a compliment worth admiring. That is a completely different mindset from the celebrity trap. A lot of famous people think the deal ends when they get cast. Norris appears to have understood that the real deal starts in the contract. Salary makes you rich for a season. Participation can make you rich for decades. And when Jared Padalecki said Norris still co-owned the original Walker and had to give his blessing for the reboot, that gave the public one more clue. This was not just fame, this was a negotiated position. Now look at the second layer of his money engine. He kept extending the Chuck Norris brand into categories that matched his image. Total Gym's official history says the first infomercial featuring Chuck Norris and Christy Brinkley launched in 1996, and that the campaign helped create the longest-running fitness infomercial in history, with more than 4 million units sold in over 85 countries. You do not need the exact size of Norris's deal to understand the significance. This was not random endorsement work. It was a long-running fit between brand and product, the kind that can create durable income because the audience believes the person actually belongs there. And he kept doing versions of that. He wrote books, including New York Times best-selling nonfiction. He wrote a widely syndicated health and wellness column. He remained tied to martial arts through the United Fighting Arts Federation. Later, he and Gina Norris launched Sea-Force Bottling Co. in 2015, a company built around water sourced from the aquifer under his ranch in Navasota, Texas. Public descriptions of the company say it grew into distribution across dozens of states and thousands of retail locations. Again, notice the pattern. He did not just rent out his face. He kept connecting his image to systems, products, and organizations that could exist beyond one acting role. So where did the money go? Based on the public record, a meaningful share of the Norris story points toward land, operating businesses, family ventures, and philanthropy. His ranch was not just a place to live. It also became part of the Sea-Force business story. And his charitable work through Kickstart Kids, which he founded in 1990 with support from President George H.W. Bush, grew into a program that has served more than 120,000 students. So some of the money appears to have gone toward institution building, not just lifestyle. That tells us something about his financial psychology. Judging by the public pattern, Chuck Norris looks much more like a builder than a spender, more owner than performer, more conservative than flashy. His wealth story reads less like somebody chasing novelty and more like somebody reinforcing one trusted identity: martial arts, discipline, fitness, family, Texas, self-reliance. He kept monetizing the same core signal across schools, films, television, infomercials, books, columns, and martial arts organizations and family-run businesses. Different streams, same brand. So what was Chuck Norris's smartest financial move? Based on the public record, it was not a flashy purchase. It was the decision to own a piece of the thing people thought he was merely starring in, and then, years later, to enforce that ownership. The dumb move would have been assuming fame was enough, assuming the studio accounting would take care of itself, assuming that being the face of the product meant you did not need to fight for the economics behind the product. He did not make that mistake. For ordinary people, the lesson is powerful. Your salary is important, but it is not the whole game. The real shift happens when you move from paid work to owned value. That could mean equity, royalties, a business, a side income stream, intellectual property, or a contract that pays you when the work keeps producing after you are done. The second lesson is just as important. If you do negotiate ownership, protect it. A good financial decision on paper is only as good as your willingness to enforce it in real life. And maybe the most practical lesson of all is this: consistency compounds. Chuck Norris did not build wealth by reinventing himself every 6 months. He kept building around the same trusted signal: strength, discipline, reliability. That made it easier for audiences to believe the shows, buy the books, watch the commercials, and trust the products. In personal finance, people call that brand alignment. In ordinary life, it means your reputation should make money easier, not harder. So was Chuck Norris just highly paid or actually financially smart? Based on the pattern, he was financially smart in a very specific way. He understood that fame gets attention, but ownership captures value. He understood that image can sell once, but structure can pay forever. And he understood that the most important roundhouse kick in his career was not thrown in a fight scene at all. It was written into a contract. Whose financial life should I break down next?